Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaitanya Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Diriye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, Chapter 6, the liberation of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, text 85 onwards. यद्यपि जगत गुरु तुम्ही शास्त्र ज्ञानवान पृथ्वी ते नाही पंडित तोमार समम ईश्वरेर कृपा लेश नाही कतो महाते अतएव ईश्वर तत्व न पार जानीते. Gopinath Acharya then addressed Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So far he was speaking with the disciples, and now he is addressing Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya himself. You are a great teacher and a great scholar and a teacher of many disciples. Indeed, there is no other scholar like you on earth. Nonetheless, because you are bereft of even a pinch of the Lord's mercy, you cannot understand him, even though he is present in your own home, because you don't have his mercy. तुम्हार नाहिक दो शास्त्र एक है पंडित आद्य ईश्वर तत्व ज्ञान कब ना है. It is not your fault. It's a verdict of the scriptures. You cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by your scholarship. So that's all Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had, scholarship. But now he got a chance to do some service to the Lord, and he will get tons of mercy. This is a very important verse. Even big scholars cannot understand Krishna, yet they dare comment on the Bhagavad Gita. Reading the Bhagavad Gita means understanding Krishna. Yet we actually see many scholars making blunders in trying to understand Krishna. Gopinath Acharya's statement is confirmed in many places in the Vedic literature. In the Katha Upanishad it is said, Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhyo, na medhya na bahuna ashutena, yam evash vrinute, tena labhyas, tasyash atma vivrinute tanum swam. It is also stated in Katha Upanishad, Naisha tarakena matirapaneya. प्रोक्तान ये नैव सुयज्ञाय प्रेष्ठा याम त्वम आपा सत्य धृतिर्वतासि त्वादृन्नो भूयान न चिकेता prashta. The fact is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, cannot be attained simply by explanations, logic, and erudite scholarship. So it can never be understood by this. One cannot understand him simply by one's brain substance. Even by studying all the Vedic literatures, one cannot understand the Supreme Lord. However, if one is slightly favored by the mercy of the Lord, if the Lord is pleased, one can understand him. But who are the candidates eligible to receive the mercy of the Lord? Only the devotees. Period. They alone can understand what is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord reveals himself to the sincere devotee when he is pleased with his service. Swayameva sfuratiyata. One should not try to understand the Lord simply from the statements of the Vedas, nor should one uselessly attempt to decry these statements through reasoning and logic. So only by devotees he can be understood, and even if a devotee is illiterate, he can understand the Lord. सार्वभौम कहे आचार्य कह सावधाने तो माते ईश्वर कृपा इथे की प्रमाणे. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied, My dear Gopinath Acharya, please speak with great care. What is the proof that you have received the mercy of the Lord? So he is saying, you are saying, I don't have mercy of the Lord. Where's the proof that you have received? आचार्य के वस्तु विषय है वस्तु ज्ञान वस्तु तत्व ज्ञान है कृपा थे प्रमाण. Gopinath Acharya replied, knowledge of the summum bonum, the absolute truth, is evidence of the mercy of the Supreme. Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya informed his brother-in-law Gopinath Acharya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead may not have shown mercy to me, but what's the proof of his having shown it to you? Kindly let us know about this. In reply to this, Gopinath Acharya said that the summum bonum, the absolute truth, and his different potencies are identical. Therefore, one can understand the substance of the absolute truth by the manifestation of his different potencies. The summum bonum includes all potencies in one unit. The absolute truth combined with different characteristics is original substance, Vastu. Parasya Shaktir Vivideva Shakriyate. So, little difficult. But what Gopinath Acharya is saying that mercy means when one understands the Lord. Lord means is different potencies also. They are also part of the Lord. So one understands his potencies. Thus, the Vedas state that the absolute truth has different potencies. When one understands the characteristics of the potencies of the absolute truth, or characteristics of the powers of the absolute truth, one is aware of the absolute truth. On the material platform as well, one can understand the substance by the manifestation of its symptoms. For example, when there is heat, it is to be understood that there is fire. The heat of the fire is perceived directly. The fire may not be visible, but one can search out the fire by feeling heat. Similarly, if one can perceive the characteristics of the absolute truth, we can know that he has understood the substance of the absolute truth by the mercy of the Lord. So one understands the characteristics. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone. Sevan Mukhehi Jivado. The Lord reveals himself to a devotee when he is completely satisfied by the devotee's service. So Sevan Mukhehi Jiva Ado means starting with Jiva, the tongue. So tongue is used to chant, to glorify the Lord and to taste his prasadam. Then the Lord is pleased. Thus one cannot understand the Supreme Lord without his mercy. The absolute truth cannot be understood by speculation, and this is the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. Ihare sharire sab Ishvara lakhan, maha prema vesha tumi payacha darshan. Gopinath Acharya continued, you have seen the symptoms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his absorption in an ecstatic mood. So the point that in the previous verse he made is, if you understand the characteristics or the potencies in a person, then you understand the person. So characteristics of the Supreme Lord means he is the Supreme Lord. So one, he said, his absorption in an ecstatic mood. Tabu ta Ishwar Gyan na hai tumhara, Ishwarera Maya bali vyava. Despite directly perceiving the symptoms of the Supreme Lord in the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you cannot understand him. This is commonly called illusion. The Gopinath Acharya is pointing out that Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya had already seen uncommon symptoms of ecstasy in the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These uncommon symptoms of ecstatic love indicated the Supreme Person. But despite having seen all these symptoms, the Bhattacharya could not understand the Lord's transcendental nature. He was considering the Lord's pastimes to be mundane. This was certainly due to illusion. Dekhi le na dekhe tare, bahir mukh jaan, shuni hasi sarabhaum, by Lila Vachan. A person influenced by the external energy is called Bahiramukhvachan, a mundane person, because despite his perception, he cannot understand the real substance. Hearing Gopinath Acharya say this, Sarvam Bhattacharya smiled and began to speak as follows. So when one's heart is not cleansed, one cannot awaken the transcendental nature of devotional service, as Lord Krishna confirms this. Yesham Tantagatam Papam Jananam Punyakar Te Dvandva Moho Nirmukta Bhajante Mam Dridhaprita. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So when one is actually engaged in pure devotion service, it is understood that he has already attained freedom from all reactions to sinful activities. In other words, it is to be understood that devotees are already freed from sin. A sinful person, a miscreant, a dushkriti, cannot engage in devotion service, nor can one engage in devotion service simply on the basis of scholarly speculation. One has to wait for the mercy of the Lord in order to render pure devotion service. So, one who has completely acted piously, means sinlessly, then he can be engaged in the service of the Lord. So, in other words, Prabhupada said, it is to be understood that devotees are already freed from sin. So, but sometimes we feel that so many sinful desires are coming in our heart, in our mind. So, Prabhupada gave the example of a fan. So, if the fan is running at full speed, somebody turns off the switch, the fan is still running. It takes time to come to a complete stop. The fan is still running because of the momentum that he had already had from the previous run. So we might have some sinful desires, and we might even engage in sinful activities. But very soon, the fan will come to a stop. That's what it's bound to happen. This is the power of devotion service. इष्ट गोष्ठी विचार करी न करी हरोष शास्त्र दृष्टि कही किचु नाइला nalai adosha. The Bhattacharya said, we are just having a discussion among friends and considering the points described in the scriptures. Do not become angry. I'm simply speaking on the strength of the Shastras. Please do not take any offense. So, obviously, Gopinath Acharya was little upset. Again and again, same questions. And he's saying, so he cannot understand him based on your scholarly speculation. And a sinful man cannot engage in devotion. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, hey, please don't get angry. We're just having friendly discussion. Mahabhagavad hai Chaitanya Gosai, Ekali Kale Vishnu Ramataranai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is certainly a great uncommon devotee, but we cannot accept him as an incarnation of Lord Vishnu because according to Shastra, there is no incarnation in this age of Kali. So he is a big scholar. He knew the scriptures, but he didn't know everything about devotion service or the Supreme Lord. So he says, in the Shastra, there's no mention of the Supreme Lord coming in the age of Kali. But that is not right. Actually, it is mentioned. Okay, further he says, Atev Tri Yuga Kari Kahi Vishnu Naam, Kali Yuge Avatar Nahi Shastra Gyan. Another name for Lord Vishnu is Tri Yuga, because there is no incarnation of Lord Vishnu in Kali Yuga. Indeed, this is the verdict of the revealed scriptures. So, three yoga, it also has different meaning actually. So let's see what Prabhupada says. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is known as Three Yuga, which means that he is manifest in three yugas, Satya, Treta, and Dwapar. However, this means that in the age of Kali, the Lord appears not directly, but in disguise. So he doesn't come openly, he comes in disguise. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Channa Kalo Yada Bhavastri Yugo Athasvam Sattvam. My Lord, you kill all the enemies of the world in your multifarious incarnations, in the families of men, animals, demigods, rishis, aquatics, and so on. Thus, you eliminate the worlds with transcendental knowledge. In the age of Kali, O Mahapurush, you sometimes appear in a covered incarnation. Therefore, you are known as Three Yuga, one who appears in only three yugas. Srila Swami has also verified that Lord Vishnu appears in the age of Kali, but does not act as he does in other ages. So does not act as a supreme Lord. Lord Vishnu incarnates for two purposes. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaturshika. That is, he comes to engage in pastimes with his devotees and to annihilate the demons. These purposes are visible in the Satya, Treta, and Dwapar Yugas. But in Kali Yuga, the Lord appeared disguised. He does not directly kill demons and give protection to the faithful. Because the Lord is not directly perceived in Kali Yuga, but is directly known in the other three yugas, his name is Tri Yuga. Of course, there is another meaning of Tri Yuga. Let's see if Prabhupada has explained it. Shuni acharya kahe dukhi hai mane, shasagya kariya tumi kar abhimane. Upon hearing this, Gopinath Acharya became very unhappy. He said to the Bhattacharya, you consider yourself the knower of all Vedic scriptures? That is strange. Bhagavad Bharat Dui Shasrera Pradhan, Sei Dui Grantha Vakya Nahi Avadhan. Srimad Bhagavatam and Bharat, Bharat means Mahabharata, are the two most important Vedic scriptures, but you have paid no attention to their statements. So generally scholars, they don't consider Puranas as a authorized scriptures. And Bhagavatam and Mahabharata, they both are Purana. Sei dui kahe kalite sachat avatar, tumi kaha kalite nahi Vishnura prachara. In Srimad Bhagavatam and the Mahabharata, it is stated that the Lord appears directly. But you say that in this age there is no manifestation or incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Kali Yoga Lila Avatar na kare Bhagavan Atev Tri Yuga Kari Kahitaranam. In this age of Kali, there is no Leela avatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he is known as Three Yuga. That is one of his holy names. A Leela avatar is an incarnation of the Lord who performs a variety of activities without making any special endeavor. He always has one pastime after another, all full of transcendental pleasure. And these pastimes are fully controlled by the Supreme Person. The Supreme Person is totally independent of all others in these pastimes. While teaching Sanatana Goswami in this Madhya Lila, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pointed out that one cannot count the number of Leela avatars. There's so many Leela avatars. Leela avatar Krishnirana Jaye Ganan Pradhan Karya Kahi Digdarshan. However, the Lord told Sanatan, I shall explain the chief Leela avatars. Matsya Kurma Raghunatha Narsimha Vaman Varaha Adi Lekhayar Nayayagana. Thus the Lord's incarnations are enumerated, including Matsya, the fish incarnation, Kurma, the tortoise, Lord Ramchandra, Narsimhadev, Vamandev, and Varaha, the boar incarnation. Thus, there are innumerable Leela avatars, and all of these exhibit wonderful pastimes. Lord Varaha, the board incarnation, lifted the entire planet Earth from the depths of the Garbhodak ocean. The tortoise incarnation, Lord Kurma, became a pivot for the emulsification of the whole sea. And Lord Nrsimhadev appeared as half man, half lion. These are some of the wonderful and uncommon features of Leela avatars. In his book Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Srila Rupa Goswami has enumerated the following 25 Leela avatars. Chatushana means Chatukumar, 4 Kumars. Narad, Varaha, Matsya, Yagya, Nar Narayan, Kapil, Dattatreya, Aishirsha or Aigriva, Hansa, Prishnigarva, Rishabh, Prithu, Narsimha, Kurma, Dhanvantari, Mohini, Vaman, Parshuram, Raghavendra, Vyas, Balaram, Krishna, Buddha, and Kalki. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, now this is to understand, is not mentioned as a Leela avatar, even by Rupa Goswami, because he is an incarnation in disguise, covered incarnation, Channa avatar. In this age of Kali, there are no Leela avatars. So Kalki comes towards the end of Kali Yuga. So not in Kali Yuga. But there is an incarnation of Lord manifested in the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This has been explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. And also another reason, he is not considered as Leela avatar. But he is not an avatar. He is Krishna himself. He is avatari. There's a difference. But in Kali Yuga, even Krishna, if you say he should be considered Leela avatar, because he does perform Leelas. But Mahaprabhu came as in the disguised form, or covered, hidden incarnation. So that's why his name is not mentioned. Pratiyuge Karena Krishna Yuga Avatar Tarka Nishta Hirde Tomar Nahika Vichara. Gopinath Acharya continued, there's certainly an incarnation in every age, and such an incarnation is called the Yuga Avatar. But your heart has become so hardened by logic and argument that you cannot consider all these facts. Because in Bhagavatam, when Garga Muni was called to do give the name, do the name giving ceremony, and he said, this boy has appeared as Shukla Raktas Tatha Pita. Pita means yellow. Asana Varnastrayo hi asya Krinato anu yugam tanu. Shuklo Raktas Tatha Pita. Idanim Krishnatam. In the past, your son has had bodies of 3 different colors according to the age. These colors were white, red, and yellow. So white, red, and yellow. So yellow is Mahaprabhu. In this age, Dwapar Yuga, he has accepted a blackish body. So this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Garga Muni when he was performing the rituals at Lord Krishna's name-giving ceremony. He states that the incarnations of the Lord in other ages had been white, red, and yellow. This yellow color refers to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whose bodily complexion was yellowish. This confirms that in the past Kali Yugas, the Lord has also incarnated in a body that was yellow in hue. It is understood that the Lord incarnates in different colors for the different yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali, accepting the color yellow, Pita, as well as other characteristics. The Lord incarnated as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the verdict of all scriptures. Whereas Gopinath Acharya is saying, if one does not have the mercy of the Lord, one cannot understand. Even though Mahaprabhu was in the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, but he was not able to recognize. So anyway, we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.